From Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.
On News Hour tonight, bandits kill DPO, 6 others in gun duel in Niger State. Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar joins presidential race, meets PDP Board of Trustees. House of Representatives probes 77 oil firms over 2.6 trillion naira revenue. And on the foreign scene, Russian anti-war TV protester Marina Ovsyannikova has been fined and released following a court hearing. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Hour. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. Now the news in full. At least 7 security operatives, including the divisional police officer in charge of Nasco, Magama local government area of Niger State, have been killed during a gun duel between joint security operators and bandits. The Niger State Police Command's public relations officer, DSP Wasiu Abiodun, who confirmed the incident, said the DPO, 2 other policemen and 4 vigilante members lost their lives during the gun battle. Reports say the incident happened on Tuesday when bandits who attempted to launch an attack on Nasco, the headquarters of Magama local government area, were engaged by security operatives comprising of the police, military and local vigilantes. He said the area commander, Kwantagora, had drafted reinforcements with the military personnel to the area to forestall breakdown of law and order. The command condoled with families of officers and vigilante members who lost their lives in the unfortunate incident, while reassuring the public that the command will not be deterred or relent in its effort to curb banditry in the state. Meanwhile, people continue to desert the already devastated communities of Jibia and Batsari local government areas of Katsina State. The affected villages are Yangaya, Dankar, Kandawa and Tsawa in Batsari local government area. Other deserted villages suffering from the incessant attacks are Tunkuri, Damaji, Falale and Kanwa in Jibia local government. Abdullahi Amadi has an update on the report.
Each of the aforementioned farming communities has a population of over 10,000 people, but hardly you get 10 to 15 people in each of the villages now, as the rest have fled to other places. Those remaining in the villages are mostly vulnerable ones, according to reports. Similarly, in Yangaya of Batsari local government, 12 people that were abducted last Thursday have been freed on Monday after the payment of 20,000 naira each as ransom. In the same vein, one Alhaji Sani Kura Dangani in Musa local government area of Katsina State, who was abducted by the suspected terrorists last Wednesday, has regained his freedom this Tuesday after the payment of 2 million naira ransom. When Trust Television met with some of the IDPs in the Asian city of Katsina, they expressed dismay over the unfortunate situation, and they said they are living in a very critical situation, living without food, without clothing, and without enough toilet facilities, even though they are taking refuge in the houses of their relatives and loved ones. And they called on the government to assist in whatever way possible to salvage them from the unfortunate condition, rather their flight.
Meanwhile, gunman attack on the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency NDLEA head office in Ebonyi State left 1 officer of the agency dead on Tuesday. The state police spokesperson Loveth Oda confirmed the incident, noting that a patient undergoing rehabilitation at the agency's rehabilitation center also got killed during the attack. She added that security officials who fought hard to repel the attack were able to kill 2 of the gunmen, with others escaping with injuries, while the attackers were said to have entered the facility by scaling the perimeter fence at the back. She said security agents were still combing the bushes around the area in search of the injured gunmen who escaped. According to the spokesperson, some of the items recovered from the gunmen include 140 rounds of K2 ammunition, 36 rounds of GPMG live ammunition, 30 rounds of AK-47 ammunition, an SUV, motorcycles, military and police uniforms, and charms. Involvement of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps Commandant General Special Intelligence Squad in the fight against vandalism, illegal bunkering and crude oil theft in the Niger Delta region is yielding positive results. 19 suspects involved in transportation of illegally refined products have been arrested in Delta State and the products confiscated. Delta State NSCDC Commandant Akinsonya Abiodun, while parading the suspects in Asaba, restates the command's resolve to go after vandals. Drivers of the tankers loaded with 45,000 litres of illegally refined automated gas oil and another 40,000 litres of the same product said they were only paid to transport the products. However, the commandant said they will be charged to court to face the law.
Within 48 hours of arrival of this tactical team, a lot of arrests have been made. People that are dealing in illegal petroleum products. We have 8 trucks arrested and 19 suspects. They were arrested along Ugeli Ogwachuku Road on their way to outside the states. And this, we have been giving warning to them. We have also destroyed some camps. We didn't leave that one alone. Our own anti-vandal squad equally arrested a trailer truck along Patani Road.
On our way expressway from Bayelsa to Wari, before we reach Ogele, there where they arrest us with this truck on carrying AGO.
You just told me to go and transport it from Agwachuku to Asaba here. That's all.
This arrest made were handed over to us. Investigation continues. By Monday, unfailingly, some of them will be taken to court, and we are sure that they will start cooling their heels in the prisons. By the time we make 2 or 3 scapegoats, others will look for a tangible means of livelihood.
And still on security, traditional title holders and district heads in Ilorin Emirate want establishment of additional police stations and divisional police headquarters in some of their districts to address security challenges. They made the request at a meeting held with Police Commissioner on Tuesday at police headquarters in Ilorin. He approved the request, but with an appeal for more collaboration from the communities. Increased criminal activities have been experienced in some areas like Okoolo and others, which the traditional rulers said require urgent attention. The district heads, under the umbrella of Ilorin Emirate Solidarity Agenda, equally promised to work closely with the police to combat crimes and criminalities.
Now, which we believe will complement your effort, your gigantic effort that you have been doing, is creation of more police stations. All these fathers, they are requesting for a divisional police station at Okolo. That's after Oloje. Everybody knows that place. It's a very, very busy place. You talk of traffic, you talk of industries, you talk of establishments of petrol stations, you talk of even cases of kidnapping. These fathers, they are representing the area, and they want crime and criminalities to come down drastically. It's not, the crime and criminality in Kwara is nothing to worry about, because even in America, Ukraine, every part of the world, there's crime and criminality, so nobody should blame the police.
Now the approval is one thing. I'm very straightforward with my men. We are very straightforward. When I came here, I met 3,000 policemen on ground. But the strength ought to be 8,000. So I quickly wrote to Force Headquarters. They looked at the plight of the command here, said, yes, let us give them police. What they did to us is good. They gave us senior officers, not the field men. And we need the field men. We are still waiting for the field men. Sometimes, like I appeal to you, can still help us to influence headquarters to give us the field men. The officers, some of them, their ranks may be more than where I ought to take them to. So that gap is still there. I've approved that of Ichito Gari. We will muster men to go there. That of Okolowo, supposed to be divisional headquarters. No post yet. Now, it is approved with a condition. Police headquarters at Okolowo is approved with a condition. Now the condition is this. Even the one at the Jidogari, one of my ogas here raised the issue of the community providing facilities. Now these days, you know that the police budget, like Oga said, is very small. Now this is an era of community policing. We work with the community members. In fact, members of the community help us greatly these days in fighting crime. Without them, police cannot do anything.
And now to politics, where former Vice President Atiku Abubakar unveils his ambition to contest the presidential election next year, warning members of the Board of Trustees of the opposition People's Democratic Party, PDP, that the party might not survive another 8 years as opposition party. Atiku hosts BOT members during a consultative meeting in Abuja on Tuesday. He asked the elders of the party to work with him to clinch the presidency in 2023. He also noted that the administration of President Olusegun Obasanjo, where he served as vice president, remains the best since 1999. Speaking on the issue of zoning, Atiku asked members of the PDP not to be considering zoning because the APC has done same. He said they invented and formulated this zoning policy to simply give every part of the country a sense of belonging, and that he personally paid his dues on the issue of zoning. The presidential hopeful said his vision is to build bridges across the country, calling on the BOT members to join him in building bridges so that every part of the country will have a sense of belonging. Meanwhile, a renowned information, loan and risk management consultant, Dr. Ibrahim Bello Dauda, has joined the race to the presidency with a message that a united, digital and prosperous Nigeria is possible. Declaring his intention to contest the nation's #1 seat Tuesday at a press briefing in Abuja, Nigeria's capital, Ibrahim Dauda, an APC stalwart, says his active interactions with various sectors give him an edge over others. Trust TV's Shafiu Suleiman reports.
After a painstaking diagnosis of the current challenges bedeviling the nation, Ibrahim Dauda says he is in the race to consolidate on the achievements of the present administration, bringing to bear his wealth of experience and personal integrity.
I am a fellow of the Institute of Information Management, Africa, fellow of the Chartered Institute of Loans and Risk Management, Nigeria, fellow Chartered Institute of Management Accountants, with other certifications in intelligence, criminology, security studies, cybercrime, investigations, environmental, health and safety, forensics, graphology, and project management. I am also certified in enterprise risk governance, sustainability governance, and member of the World Institute of Nuclear Security. Under me, Nigeria will be administered by a leadership synergy, blended from the finest qualities and merits of the old and the new generations, with a greater emphasis on women and youths.
Responding to inquiries on how to confront the current challenges of insecurity by transforming the over 12 million out-of-school children, Ibrahim Dauda says the situation requires a systematic approach and legislative intervention.
Mopping out or changing the perspective in terms of the 10-15 million projected out-of-school children is going to be a short-term, mid-term, and long-term process. By that I mean the immediate is to do a holistic data acquisition, because without data you cannot plan. We will need to know first, tentatively, how many do we have? From which geographical location of this country are they from? Why are they where they are? What are the status, or what is the status of their parents? Socially, economically, educationally. When you acquire all this data, you will be able to know, and then you have the age grades of each child, male or female. 90, almost 100% are male in that respect. The female girl child problem we have in the issue of refusal by parents to take them to school, putting them at risk of street hawking and other, unethical practices. So when you acquire data, you can now plan.
While speaking on wide range of policy options towards a robust economic development, sound foreign policy objectives, sustained synergy among stakeholders, he also believed providing agricultural incentives and value addition is critical to attaining food sufficiency. Shapir Suleiman, Trust TV News, Abuja.
And Ebonyi State House of Assembly on Tuesday declared the seats of 3 members of the Assembly elected under the platform of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, vacant. This followed a letter of resignation purportedly written by the 3 lawmakers resigning from their seats. The embattled Speaker of the House, Francis Mwifuru, read the letter during an emergency sitting of the House. Recall that on 8 March 2022, the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja in a declaratory judgment sacked the Ebonyi State Speaker and 15 other lawmakers for defecting from the People's Democratic Party, PDP, to the All Progressives Congress, APC, in the state. Meanwhile, All Progressives Congress, APC, has declared that Yobe Governor Maimala Buni remains the National Chairman, Caretaker Extraordinary Convention Planning Committee of the All Progressives Congress, APC. National Secretary of the committee stated this on Tuesday while addressing the media at the party's headquarters in Abuja. He said it became necessary to clarify events of last week, referring to the takeover of the chairmanship seat by Niger Governor Sani Bello, and insisting that the ruling party is crisis-free, strong and united in giving Nigeria the transformative leadership and good governance promised. The APC has been immersed in a crisis in the last 2 years, which led to the removal of its erstwhile chairman, Adams Oshomole. And the All Progressives Congress caucus in the House of Representatives promises to endorse the candidature of former Nasarawa State Governor and Senator representing Nasarawa West in the Senate, Abdullahi Adamu. Senator Adamu meets members of the House of Representatives shortly after the close of plenary, promised to ensure stability of the party to overwhelmingly win the forthcoming 2023 elections. Senator Adamu said his experience as chairman of the Reconciliatory Committee set up by the party at a period the party faced crisis and the success he recorded have prepared him for the task ahead. Deputy Speaker of the House, Idris Wasi, and Majority Leader of the House, Alhassan Dogwa, while highlighting the crisis in the party, assured that the caucus will support him as he is one of them in the National Assembly.
From our own end, we will continue also to partner with the party because we are an institution and we are also a relevant stakeholder as far as the party politics is concerned. We will continue also to partner and synergize with the party when eventually at the end we have a national working structure for the party. And the caucus here will always be willing to support and synergize with the leadership of the party to be able to take this country to the next level.
And ahead of the March 26 All Progressive Congress APC National Convention, a group known as APC Advanced Youth Congress Northwest Zone, Zamfara State Chapter, wants the zone to produce the next organizing secretary for the party. The group made their position known while addressing a press conference in Gusau, the Zamfara State capital, saying if the APC must win the 2023 elections, it must field credible candidates for all positions. The report.
As build-up to the 2023 elections and the ruling All Progressives Congress National Convention, politicians have intensified political scheming to have political advantage over competitors. It is against this background that APC Advanced Youth Congress Northwest Zone Zamfara State Chapter is cautioning the party to ensure credible candidates emerge as leaders of the party if APC must win the 2023 election.
As youth who had to support our leaders, we need to consider great factors in having the right people to represent us in the party during the forthcoming national convention. We are all aware that, indeed, Honorable Abubakar Sadiq Bakai is the heart of the champion of the youth, whose attribute, dexterity toward prosperous youth, known no bond.
The group believes that the qualities any candidate must have include humility, transparency, honesty, and proven integrity.
As we are aware that in the past years, Kebbi State has never produced a member of the National Working Committee, this is our great chance to support Bakai to climb the leader to be a member of the National Working Committee in this forthcoming APC National Convention 2022. I therefore call on all our youth, sons and sons to prepare ground and support the potential leader to elect as a member of the APC National Working Committee. Hopefully, APC National Organizing Secretary of our great party.
The group therefore called on all youth and other members of the APC to support candidates who have the credentials, capacity and capability to emerge as leaders of the party during the forthcoming national convention.
Meanwhile, Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike has accused his Edo State counterpart, Governor Godwin Obaseki, as a politician who is given to serial betrayal of those who help to advance his political aspiration. Governor Wike made the accusation at the inauguration of the community secondary school, Mwamwa, in Ikwere local government area of the state.
If you watch and if you ask anybody, if you go and check the DNA of Godwin Obaseki, what you see in that DNA is betrayal, serial betrayal, and ungratefulness. The DNA of Obaseki is what? Betrayal, serial betrayal, and ungratefulness. Let me stand today to apologize to Adams Oshimole, who has been vindicated by telling us that we will see the true color, we will see the insincerity, we will see the ungratefulness of Governor Obaseki. So let me apologize to Adams Oshimole and to say you have been vindicated. You're right. We were wrong. I've never seen people who are so ungrateful in life. I've never seen people who can betray everything in life, never speak the truth. I will never betray anyone.
You're watching Trust TV News Hour. Coming up after the break, aged women overtake men. This and more after the break. Do stay with us. Welcome back, and thanks for staying with us on Trust TV News Hour. Now look at some of our top stories. 7 security operatives, including the divisional police officer in charge of Nasco, Magama local government area of Niger State, have been killed during a gun duel between joint security operations and bandits. And former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has unveiled his ambition to contest the presidential election next year, warning members of the Board of Trustees of the PDP that the party might not survive another 8 years as opposition party. And moving on to other stories now, Nigeria has recorded 12 new cases of COVID-19 across 4 states in the country. The Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC, in its update for Monday, March 14th, said the data shows 1 person discharged after recovering from COVID infections. According to the NCDC record, no person died of COVID complications, keeping the fatality figure at 3,142. So far, a total of 255,001 infections have been confirmed in the country, with 249,373 recoveries. Yobe State government will sign a memorandum of understanding with a private university in Egypt to carry out kidney transplant in the state teaching hospital for indigents suffering from renal disease. The State Commissioner for Health and Human Services, Dr. Muhammad Lawal, said this while listing the state government's health intervention plans that includes partnering with a pharmaceutical company in a bid to reduce the cost of medication.
Partnership with the drug for the drug company, we are signing as early as in a week or 2 time. And afterwards, we'll start receiving the Drugs and Medical Consumables Agency will start receiving the drugs, and then of course it will be given to the facilities. For the free dialysis, that has been ongoing since 2018. The program is ongoing and people are really benefiting. For the citizens of the states are actually very grateful to the government of Yobe State. Anything that will bring respite to the sufferings and alleviate their plight is always a welcome development. And this is what the government of Yobe State, under His Excellency, the Honorable, the Executive Governor, Honorable Mai Mala Buni, is always to, come, to assist the people, to alleviate their pains and sufferings and make life easier, and of course thereby safeguarding their health and well-being. These are all priorities of the government of His Excellency.
And another batch of 162 stranded Nigerians from Libya arrived the country. The returnees arrived at the cargo terminal of the Murtala Muhammad International Airport, Ikeja, aboard Boeing 737-800 Al Burak Air with registration number 5A-DMG. The returnees comprise 41 female adults, 5 female children, and 6 infants. The male returnees included 96 adults, 9 children, and 5 infants. 3 male adults arrived with minor medical issues. The return is facilitated by the International Organization for Migration under the European Union Joint Initiative for Migrant Protection and Reintegration. So far, 91 charter flights have been operated to repatriate the stranded Nigerians since April 2017, when the initiative started, with over 24,000 repatriated from Libya and other countries. From Libya alone, 16,000 stranded Nigerians have been repatriated. Meanwhile, the United Kingdom Embassy in Nigeria has announced the temporary suspension of study, work and family visa applications. In a statement posted on the official Twitter page of the United Kingdom Embassy in Nigeria on Tuesday, explained that the reason is because priority has been placed on applications made under the Ukraine Family Scheme, noting that the Ukraine Family Scheme is launched in response to the humanitarian crisis arising from the invasion of Ukraine. The statement, titled Temporary Suspension of Priority Visas for Student, Work and Family Applications, clarified that Nigerians whose passports are ready for collection will be contacted by the Visa Application Center. And the Borno State Director of Forestry and Wildlife, Ministry of Environment, Peter Ayuba, has confirmed the killing of a lion by hunters in Konduga local government area. Ayuba said the lion might have strayed from Waza Game Reserve in neighboring Cameroon Republic. He told the news agency of Nigeria that a similar incident of elephants from the game reserve entering villages is previously recorded in Kalabalgi local government area. Ayuba said there is also an incident of some hyenas killing a man in the bush in Kaga local government area, noting that the absence of human activities in some rural communities for several years has transformed many farmlands to thick forests. He explained that the several years of absence of human beings made the animals in reserves to start wandering into the villages. The director explained that the villages had been without humans until now, and that people were returning to base with the gradual return of peace. Ayuba urged resettled communities to be careful and vigilant, pointing out that the lion killed on Sunday could have other pride members lurking. Information officer of the Konduga local government area, Ashek Chabol, said the lion chased some irrigation farmers in Malari village who had to invite hunters to engage it. The lion injured 2 hunters before they killed it. The injured hunters are receiving treatment while the carcass of the lion is taken to the Ministry of Environment. Meanwhile, some elderly women in Jos, the Plateau State capital, have overtaken men when it comes to breaking stones into smaller pieces for sale. Men are known to engage in this manual stone breaking for livelihood. Dixon Adama reports that the business is no longer exclusive monopoly of men. The report.
The elderly women not only showed dogged determination, but proved that they are masters of this stone-breaking venture.
I thank God because I reached 15 years to do this work. They bring my power for me, and they get power because this work where they do. They make me they help my children for school, and they get something where I go church. I thank God for that one. And if they make me they strong for my body.
I start this work. It's reached 20 years now. But I've trained my children inside the thing that I'm doing it. And I'm getting strength in it. So that's why I depend on it. I'm eating food with it. It's the thing that I'm eating with it now. So the same thing, I train my children with the stone that I'm breaking it.
Many now embrace stone-breaking job in Jos, owing to the abundance of hilly rocks in the state. Such rocks are used for various purposes, especially in construction.
These women you've seen, I've known them for over 25 years. We are neighbors with them. And I appreciated what they have been doing for that long time. What they are doing is only the Lord that is strengthening them, and they have the zeal, they do it happily. But still yet, it's just for the fact of, our nation. We would have appreciate people like this to be assisted by government or private institutions like the NGO, so that more young men too would have been accommodated in the job. It's a way of living, but a lot of us didn't know it. They build houses, they pay school fees, and support other people.
Sabongeri Tudunwada Quarry, opposite St. Moses Catholic Church in Jos North local government area of the state, attracts these elderly women who say the job keeps them healthier, stronger, and gives them unique strength.
What the men can do, the women can do even better, the popular saying goes. And these women have shown that what the men can do in this respect of breaking stones, they can do even better. Many of them have been breaking these stones for so many years, and they have been feeding their families with it and assisting their families and their husbands along the line. Some of them too have said that the stone breaking is always giving them strength and they hardly fall sick and all of that. So it's expected that the government and other interested bodies should come to their aid so that they can continue this line of business, and then they can have so many things to do for the society and for themselves. For Trust TV News, just Dixon Salami Adama reporting.
Now to legislative matters, where the Senate on Tuesday moved to amend the Proceeds of Crime Recovery and Management Bill 2022, passed by the Chamber on March 9, 2022. Last week, the decision to amend the bill followed the consideration of a motion for recommittal sponsored by the Senate leader Yahya Abdullahi. The report.
In his presentation, Senator Yahya Abdullahi relied on Orders 1B and 52 subsection 6 of the Senate Standing Orders 2022 as amended to move for the amendment of the bill. On the need to amend the clause 74 of the bill, Abdullahi noted that implication of the amendment involves a civil forfeit will be a thing of the past in Nigeria, as there will not be final forfeit without a conviction.
The Senate recalls that the Proceeds of Crime, that's the Recovery and Management Bill 2022, was passed by this distinguished Senate on Wednesday, 9th March 2022. The Senate observes that some fundamental issues which require fresh legislative action emerged after a critical analysis of the bill, and considering the amendment that was made to Clause 74 of the bill, which placed the burden of proof on the investigating agencies, but not on the defendant, which was the recommendation of the Joint Committee, and contrary to the provisions of Article 12, subsection 7 of the United Nations Convention Against Transnational Organized Crime, which provides as follows, and I quote, Section 7, states parties may consider the possibility of requiring that an offender demonstrate the lawful origin of alleged proceeds of crime or other property liable to confiscation. And relying on Order 1 subsection B and Order 52.6 subsection 6 of the Senate Standing Orders 2022 as amended, Senate resolved to rescind its decision on Clause 74 of the bill as passed and recommit same to the Committee of Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters and Anti-Corruption and Financial Crimes with a view to exploring safeguards against abuse.
The Senate thereafter recommits the bill to the Committees on Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters, Anti-Corruption and Financial Crimes to engage relevant agencies with a view to exploring safeguards against any form of abuse.
The Senate accordingly resolved to rescind its decision on Clause 74 of the bill as passed and recommit same to the Committees on Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters, and Anti-Corruption and Financial Crimes with a view to exploring safeguard against abuse.
The bill, when signed into law, will, among other things, expand the mandates of existing statutory institutions to manage proceeds of crime, facilitate the establishment of departments in relevant organizations to manage forfeited assets, as well as provide for effective legal framework for recovery of proceeds of crime.
Meanwhile, House of Representatives has vowed to provide an accountability mechanism to ensure effective and fair administration of national resources for the good of the citizens. Speaker of the House, Femi Gbajabiamila, made the statement while declaring open public hearing on the outstanding debt owed to the Nigerian government by oil and gas companies operating in the country. The report.
Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, while declaring the investigative hearing open, insisted that it is now time to stop playing the ostrich and speak truth to the government. He reminded stakeholders of the importance of paying up on their liabilities, which in turn will enable the federal government to finance its 2022 budget, warning that failure to do so will attract the full consequences of the law.
To underscore the importance of this exercise, let me make a bold statement that if there are companies that either prevaricate or refuse to cooperate in this exercise, it may be the first time in the 9th Assembly, maybe even in history, that we will need, or I personally will invoke the provisions of the Constitution and have whoever is responsible or does not cooperate with the committee, have him arrested under the provisions of the Constitution. That's how important this exercise is. If true, 2,600 billion is not child's play. And if it is true, we need to recover that money.
Chairman of ad hoc committee also vowed to employ all legal means to recover this debt, regretting why government will be borrowing when there is enough internally generated revenue to fund its budget. The lawmakers said the committee will leave no stone unturned in the recovery of over 2.6 trillion naira owed by oil majors in form of royalties, levies, taxes, concession and rentals.
Is either out of negligence that people are colluding, that these companies get away with it, or that people decided on their own to scuttle the process of good governance in this country. Because all over the world, I know of a truth that tax evasion is a serious crime, and people don't get away with it and walk around the street if they don't pay taxes. And it's only in our country here that we take it with levity.
77 companies were indicted, out of which 51 have paid up its liabilities, according to Native reports, while the Federal Inland Revenue in its submission said 70 out of 77 has tax obligations to tune of $1.79 billion.
The disclosures were either taxes in various forms, and then the other was payment of royalty. And we are concerned about 2019, and our report emphasized that these payments were not made as at and when due as at 20th of December 2020. 20th of December 2020. So whatever happened after 20th of December 2020 can only be captured by a relevant report in 2021.
So total amount outstanding as of 1st February 2022 is $467.69 million. And out of that, MPDC owes $440.068 million. That's 94% of that amount.
Invited to testify at the hearing are the Minister of Finance, Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Niger State Development Commission, Upstream Regulatory Commission, Midstream Downstream Regulatory Authority, Nigerian Content Development and Monetary Board, and the Accountant General of the Federation.
And the House of Representatives has resolved to investigate the circumstances that led to a train conveying passengers from Lagos to Ibadan running out of fuel midway through the journey. This followed the adoption of a motion of urgent public importance by the minority leader of the House of Representatives, Ndudi Elumelu. In his motion, Elumelu said the Nigerian Railway Corporation was for the purpose of easy and cheap movement of bulk goods and commuters from the hinterland to the seaports and vice versa. He said that in recent times there had been a series of media reports of how passenger trains break down in the middle of nowhere for lack of maintenance. The lawmaker noted that this had subjected commuters to possible attacks by hoodlums who could brutalize, maim and cart away hard-earned monies and goods of innocent Nigerians.
When our Nigerians were actually traveling from Lagos to Ibadan, Mr. Speaker, in the middle of the night, the train stopped. And the excuse that was given was that there was no diesel, or that diesel finished. And this is not the first time that some of these things are happening. And when it happened, it put our citizenry in risk. What is happening now, where people can be shot at or kidnapped, that gives room for that kind of situation. So I feel that this House should look into this matter and even know what happened. Why should there be recklessness on the lives of our citizenry to the extent that a train will stop?
And the Northeast Development Commission is consulting stakeholders on implementation of its 10-year development plan for the region. The Northeast Stabilization and Development Master Plan is designed to help the region recover from the devastation caused by Boko Haram insurgency in the region. Ibrahim Ismail reports.
The Northeast Stabilization and Development Master Plan
NESDMP runs between 2020 and 2030 to reflect the needs of the people. In the master plan, the Northeast Development Commission is holding an engagement meeting at the state level, and this time it is the turn of Gombe State. Governor Inwa Yahya, represented by the Secretary to the state government, said hands must be on deck to ensure successful implementation of the plan.
Our active participation in this important consultative meeting is crucial to ensuring the success of the Commission. This is because without a good roadmap that affects or reflects the true yearnings and aspirations of the people of the sub-region, it will be difficult for the Commission to achieve the primary objectives of coordinating the resettlement, rehabilitation, integration, and reconstruction of infrastructure in the sub-region. It is my sincere hope that today, this document we are in the process of developing will provide effective strategies and practical steps that will be taken to achieve the objectives of the Northeast Development Commission. I therefore urge you to provide valuable inputs during each of the thematic sessions, bearing in mind that as stakeholders in the state, you are the voice of the people.
The NEDC said the master plan will address various problems in the region.
The master plan is not only about Boko Haram. The master plan is to take care of whatever it is, like you heard what people are saying. There is an underlying factor that brought about Boko Haram. Unless you address it, you will continue having something like Boko Haram. So this master plan is to help at least develop, provide empowerment for the youth, especially because most of the problems we're having is with the youth. When you empower the youth, when you create economic development, then likelihood is you have peace and you have progress, and therefore you don't expect another Boko Haram to arise. And then of course this region will be propelled to grow, just like the other regions of Nigeria.
However, one big challenge for the NEDC and other stakeholders is how to implement the plan.
It's one thing to write what it is that is supposed to be done, to design it as an architect, as you said, but it's another to make sure that it is realized. So resourcing and robust implementation framework are two critical things that we have to put in place with a very well-developed monitor and evaluation system that will keep on identifying failures and deviations from the plan and what corrective actions to be put back in order to make sure that the plan has achieved its own desired goal by 2030. So there will be a lot of hands-on-deck activities to be done, not only by the NEDC itself, but by all the stakeholders. So there will be sensitization, mobilization, to make sure that everybody is carried along and is actively participating in the implementation.
The NEDC said the Gombe State 10-year development plan is in line with the Northeast Stabilization and Development Master Plan. From Gombe, Ibrahim Ismail reporting for Trust TV.
Meanwhile, a community of Adamawa civil society organizations wants more women participation in governance with decision-making roles. This comes as the group marked this year's International Women's Day. The group, a coalition of civil society groups operating in Adamawa State, while marking this year's International Women's Day with the theme Gender Equality Today for a Sustainable Tomorrow, urged government at both national and subnational levels to pursue the inclusion of women in governance and decision-making processes in the society. The report.
March 8 every year is set aside to mark International Women's Day globally. The community of Adamawa Civil Organization, comprising over 165 non-governmental organizations in the state, are staging this event, although belatedly. The organizers, however, are using this event to urge government both at the national and subnational levels to pursue inclusion of more women in governance and decision-making roles. Peter Eguda, convener of the group, said women are change agents.
Women also have been identified as people who are change agents, because some of our policies, some of our intervention are geared towards development issues, are geared towards livelihood issues. When you give a man money, for instance, if you are doing a cash programming, it's a general knowledge that when you give a man money, the next thing he wants to do, because he's a father, he wants to share it to all his wives. He wants to share it to all his friends, not necessarily the family that this money is targeted to. He might even overlook his family. So long his interest, what satisfies his interest as a man then is to reach out to every other person. But when you give it to a woman, she takes care of the house, she takes care of her husband, she takes care of her children, and she ensures that the house is taken care of properly. And that's why deliberately women, within the context of humanitarian response, we put women at the core of it, either in our right from our program delivery and project implementation.
Making the case for more women participation in governance and decision-making roles, he buttresses his point that women are change agents. He said society stands to gain once government makes the inclusion of women in government a matter of priority.
That the federal government and the state government at all levels should take it as a matter of priority to ensure that policies that are geared towards bringing the female gender down should be expunged or should be reviewed to accommodate them more, because we need them. We need them in the system. When we talk about exclusion, SDG, one of the SDGs talks about social exclusion. And the exclusion of people in decision-making process has been identified as one of the major triggers of crisis in the world globally today. So bringing in people to participate in issues that affect them to discuss, bring about cohesion, brings about development, bring about peace. So at this point in time in the 21st century world, we cannot but work with our women and bring them to the round table for us to discuss, and for them also to be policymakers and active players in political dispensation.
Now, even the coalition, we are more in number. Like some years back, when you look, you see that the coalition, we are only few people that are there. But now, this coalition is over 200 membership. And because of that, it means we have more people, you know, to propagate for the women. And the men too, the Nango, they're also supportive.
National Bureau of Statistics says Nigeria's foreign trade deficit hit 1.94 trillion naira in 2021 compared to 187.3 billion naira recorded in 2022, as the cost of importing commodities exceeded the value of its export. Statistician General of the Federation, Simon Harris, said this during a press briefing held at the NBS headquarters in Abuja. The report.
Based on international mechanized trade statistics manual, the use of investors exporters window for exchange rate and updated data sales for NBS data sources were adopted as a methodology. Accordingly, during the fourth quarter of 2021, total trade stood at 11,707,000,000 with export trade value of 5,766,000,000 and import trade billion value of 5,940,000,000, which recorded a negative trade balance of 173.96 billion naira.
The report said that Nigeria's foreign trade grew 58% to 39.8 trillion naira in 2021 from 25.2 trillion naira the previous year. According to the report, Nigeria's export trade valued at 5.766 trillion naira is mainly dominated by crude oil.
In terms of export, ladies and gentlemen, the Nigerian export trade was mainly dominated by crude oil, which amounted to 426 billion naira, representing 74.04% of the total export during the fourth quarter of 2021. This was followed by natural gas, liquefied with 573.85 billion naira, representing 9.95%. Floating of submersible drilling platforms with 265.33 billion naira.
Harry also gave figures on Nigeria's main imports.
Urea, whether or not in aqueous solution, with 208.05 billion naira, representing 3.61%. On the other hand, Major products imported were motor spirit, value at 1,443.91 billion, representing 24.31%, followed by durum weight value at 397.19 billion.
The report also brings to light Nigeria's major export partners.
In exports during the fourth quarter of 2021 were India with 874.86 billion naira, Spain with 789.23 billion naira, France with 485.35 billion naira, the Netherlands with 423.85 billion naira, and Indonesia with 288.10 billion naira.
Nigeria's top import trading partners during the period under review were China with 1.65 trillion naira, Belgium with 613.28 billion naira, India with 430.38 billion naira, the Netherlands with 416.52 billion, and the United States of America with 340.36 billion naira. Chamun Dabeng, Trust TV News, Abuja.
And now a look at the foreign scene, where Russian anti-war TV protester Marina Ovsyannikova has been fined and released following a court hearing. Ovsyannikova, a Russian state television employee, had brandished a slogan protesting the invasion of Ukraine on live TV. Earlier published a video explaining her reasons for interrupting the news broadcast. She pleaded not guilty. Meanwhile, U.S. Fox News cameraman Pierre Zakharevsky has died after his vehicle came under fire on Monday in Horenka, in the outskirts of Kiev. Journalist Benjamin Hall was also injured in the attack and remains hospitalized. The outlet said in a statement that today is a heartbreaking day for Fox News media and for all journalists risking their lives to deliver the news. And that wraps up Trust TV News Hour for tonight. Don't forget to subscribe and follow us across all our social media platforms. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. Thanks for joining us.